If you were removed from the scene, what would be missing?
Whew. Well, that's probably a lot. Um, and I'll just be like as uh because I don't want to like flex or nothing or whatever, but I do know what I bring to the table. So
This is the flex hour. So go right ahead.
right, yeah.
That's why I
Um,
asked you. Yes, sir.
Excuse me if my swagger proceeds me. You dig my swag, my demeanor. How much cleaner am I M6 Beamer?
I think well, passion plays a big part in it, but a lot of it, I think, um, maybe a little bit of obsession,
Okay.
kind of just obsessed with that. But one thing it was about a few years ago, I decided that I was gonna destroy the mindset of trying to be a independent rapper who's trying to make it,
Hmm.
because I think that's on a lot of young people's mindsets, and I think people even my age might kind of be plagued with that. So when I got heavy into merchandising, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna operate this like I'm running a business. So I'm a business owner, and so you don't. So really, you don't feel like you're struggling or that you're waiting for that big opportunity. You're kind of creating it yourself
Right.
if you know how to put all the pieces together. So that was one thing that was a big thing, and that changed my mindset.
Okay.
And and then it takes a lot of discouragement outside of you. You're not so discouraged. You're just like, okay, well, here's the next step. So it's kind of like the mom and pop shop. They want one day they want to kind of want to be more than that. That with like they want to have like let's say 100 grand sales a year. So they're going to keep moving up to make that. They're not saying, oh, I hope the CEO of Walmart discovers us and puts us on.
Right.
So it's that kind of mindset. So that I keep knocking the headphones out. That helped me an awful lot, and it just changed my mindset.
Okay.
So I think I operated differently. You take networking just a little bit more. You take it more seriously. But building relationships, that's a big thing. So that's really I think that's like the biggest thing. If you know how to build relationships,
Do
then
you?
that helps a lot. But yeah, man, I would say that's what kept me going. And when I because I have merchandise that sells well, people discover you. People want to link up on Spotify. Want to so and then how to properly use social media. So what kept me going is I was able to consistently keep myself busy,
Mhm.
and then I would have kind of consistent shows, consistent tours, and then eventually I would just kind of catch other people's attention, and then I'd get offers, and so it kind of grows from there. So it's not about to me, it's not trying to make it, it's trying to keep growing.
That's right.
And then you're just kind of keeping like the boat float, so to speak. So
Okay. Uh, are you self-contained pretty much? Do you do all the designs for your merchandise?
I have a few graphic designers. I have a guy. He's in a band. Shout out to Bradley. He prints most of my merchandise, and he's done a few logos. I work with Dan Bailey out of the UK. He does most of my designs, and we have a pretty similar like vision. So if I send him something, he gets super stoked about it.
Okay.
And then cool thing is we're in different time zones. So he'll be working at like it'll be like nighttime, and then he'll send it to me. So I'll wake up in the morning and I'll get that new flyer. And so you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
kind of get a good morning, like so it kind of brightens up the day because okay, I got the new flyer. I can announce that tomorrow.
Yeah.
So and I've had other graphic designers. It kind of depends on what graphics I'm looking for, who fits, who I think because I know all that kind of have different styles. So we're like, okay, what I'm going for, I know who to direct this piece of work too. So
Uh, your graphics always look dope.
thank you, man.
Colors on point, the designs, yeah, it's always
Yeah.
where you can look at it and say these guys know what they're doing.
Yeah. It's easy to want to do graphics yourself. I mean, obviously there's resources like there's Render Forest where you can actually make like your own like visualizer videos, and the templates are real simple. But I believe one of the missing components of the industry nowadays is everyone wants to do everything themselves.
Mm,
So when I look at it, if I can't make something myself that's quality, then I need to deliver that to a professional.
right.
You know what I mean? So that's one thing that I'm big on. That's why I don't make my own beats, because I'm terrible at that. So I pay people to make the beats. So I've gotten pretty good at mixing. So I'm fine doing that. I'm a pretty good promoter. I'm pretty good at setting up a tour. So, but I have a booking agent that helps me get the dates, and he's got a lot of good contacts. ATM, who's with 93 and a live booking. So, so yeah, in areas where I am not skilled, I pay people who are. So yeah.
Okay, I'd like to touch on a couple of things that you mentioned. We're gonna rewind the tape a little bit. Social media. What do you think some of the things you can see wrong that a lot of artists are doing currently with social media, and why they aren't able to scale it to where they want it to be?
I have a lot of opinions on social media.
Give them to us.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I think artists, for the most part, and this can be a generational thing, I think it gets used for the wrong reasons.
Mm,
And I think therefore artists get the wrong attention, and they get engagement and vision and like public attention for the wrong reasons. A lot of it's drama. A lot of it is just talking too much. I don't mean like talking too much. I mean like, can I curse on here?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talking a little too much shit basically just ranting about too much stuff. Like, good example, like to me, like, and I'm guilty of it in the past, and so I've definitely over the years have like I'll think twice about what I post. So for the most part, I think about the perception. So you want to kind of be perceived as professional, because that's how how people are gonna perceive you is how that they'll treat you, or you know what I mean. So you want to leave a lot of that personal issues, or I don't even share if I'm going through financial problems, like because independent, being an entrepreneur, your finances are up and down a lot. So I keep a lot of that private. I think when you if you're going through some things, I think you should just keep that in the music, because you'll at least get fans that will relate to it. And it just sounds better than you kind of complaining on a social media page.
Yeah.
And I look at that, and I look how people react to it. And I think I think artists they can lose some interest and some steam by just getting a little too emotional over personal stuff. I feel like they should keep it professional. That investing in advertising, I know that's something a lot of young artists don't want to do, but like, a Facebook ad's $5. You can do a Facebook ad for $5. You can do an Instagram ad. The YouTube, Google ads are the ones that are cost a little bit more to properly do, but there's plenty of tutorials on YouTube to show you how to do it, how to get a good reach for little money. That goes a long way. I know several loyal fans that I've made through doing those ads.
Okay.
So that's that's super cool. So yeah, man, that's just the list of things. But I think it's just I try to think who said it. They said social media is just brand awareness, and so yeah, you're just trying to make people aware of your brand.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you wanna keep a lot of the personal drama off. And if you want to be perceived one way, you have to take that serious, I think.
Would you encourage artists to have two different types of social media, maybe their personal page and then their artist thing, and keep those separate, or is that an artist
Yeah.
by artist basis?
That's not a bad idea. I have a problem doing that. Pretty much all my social media is um, there's not really anything personal I like to put out there unless I'm being very transparent. Like if I do like a long post, maybe I'm talking about like my personal relationship and or something like that. And I'm telling like a story
Mhm.
that kind of connects your audience to you. Those are always, when it comes to being personal, those are the best ones.
Yeah.
Caskey, I don't know if you heard of Caskey, he's really good
Yep.
at doing that.
Yep.
King ISO does that very well. And I know it's something your audience always likes it when you're transparent, because then you're reminding them that you're human.
Right.
And then they can kind of relate to you, especially if you're talking about your family, your kids, uh, things like that.
And
So
we're talking about King ISO, Strange Music.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, he does that from time to time, and I always like that kind of transparency, and I can tell his fans appreciate it too.
Mhm.
So it's like kind of takes the rap star icon away just for a little bit and just reminds them he's human too. I think people like that. So
Okay.
that's another thing with social media is obviously like these platforms, they reward you for if you can bring an engagement. That gets you more visibility. But another thing is connecting to your fans. I think that's something a lot of up and coming artists haven't quite understood yet. You definitely want to open the door for engagement. You want to kind of build that connection. That's something that I know some up and coming rappers like they're really good at, like Mercules. He's been really good at that. I know Tom McDonald, Caskey, Tech Nine's really good at that. That's kind of what's built him over the years. Is he's and and then I know nowadays I think a lot of artists are frustrated over the whole TikTok thing because they feel like in order for us to be visible, we have to do content that's everything but music.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought that for a little bit, but there's a few artists I found on TikTok and Facebook Reels that all the other content's all music and their audience is growing. So I think it's a misconception because they see how many views like a response video will get, or if it's you cooking something, and those are cool things to do. You can kind of connect to them in different ways. I did a few coffee videos that people liked, so I just did that just for the hell of it. I didn't have any particular reason why, and people kind of thought it was interesting the way I made coffee. But yeah, you can stick it strictly to music, and you can have clips in the studio, maybe some infield, like on the road or at shows. It's something I've been meaning to do more. And that's a way you can connect your audience because they get to see behind the scenes. And so, especially if you and maybe the other artists that you do shows with, maybe if you're entertaining, if a couple of you guys are funny, that makes for good content.
Yeah.
Because anything that's got some humor in it is super cool. But yeah, man, as far as social media, I think those to me are the top things. I think it's just you kind of want to think like a fan, and I think you just want to operate yourself that way.
Yeah, think like a fan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
You are a uber productive artist and creative. How do you manage the stress level, and what do you do when you get tired?
Well, I've been pretty tired today. I do an open mic every Wednesday, and I still work a day job. It helps me keep the personal bills stable while the music business expenses. So yeah, I get up early every day, Monday through Friday, like everybody else, Since I got back into the workforce outside of music, because I did music full time for a while, it's less stressful now just because I have an extra income. And I have 2 bank accounts too. I keep one for personal, one for the music business. And so I'm on 3 hours of sleep tonight. Because whenever I don't have a show, like last night, I dedicate open mic to my girl for her birthday, and it was a late night, and it was pretty chaotic, but Bar was very happy. We had a great night, and then whenever I don't have a show, I'm normally supporting local music.
Okay.
So I find out which shows are happening, which one of my friends are performing. But yeah, it gets stressful at times. This whole album release I'm in the middle of has been pretty bad. Not like bad, like it's going together, but just certain things, like the release date's getting closer. I still got a couple things I need to take care of. So I kind of learned to take it kind of day by day. Like I'll write notes and say, okay, Monday I'll release a single to promote the album with. Okay. And then Tuesday I'll do this podcast, or Thursday I'll do this podcast interview to promote it. Wednesday I won't make myself do anything because I always have open mic. So I don't want to come home, be rushed to do that, get dressed, shower, pack up and go to the gig. So I try to do like one day at a time, but I'll write notes on a lunch break. I'll maybe make a post of something I need to promote. Normally Sundays, I'll anything as far as like sending these album for distribution. So it's like, all right, that's going to take me a few hours. So on Sunday, I'll get up at 10 a.m. and I'll take care of that. So the thing about it is like there's a lot that I will do within maybe a 3 weeks time. And then but I won't put that in the public to probably a few weeks down later down the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of something I would do. So like if I had a bunch of like reviews on a single, I would get that. And then 1 week I would post it day by day. So that's kind of my little secret strategy is I spend like 3 weeks getting a lot of stuff together, but then keep it in the vault.
Yeah.
And then later down so it looks like a lot of stuff's popping at the same time.
Yeah.
And then sometimes something else happens randomly. And then, things work in very, very mysterious and amazing ways sometimes. So
you're teaching game for $9.99 now. I'm gonna let you hold back a little bit.
All right.
Yeah, they should have to pay for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I know what you're saying because a lot of stuff pops up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a method to it. And
yeah,
you have to keep the machine, meaning fans and
mm-hmm.
supporters, they want more content. They want more product, so to speak, from the artists that they admire. How would you describe your fans?
My fans, very diverse. Because I always kind of looked at people who would probably that I always saw that my fan base would be like hip hop heads, metal heads, punk rockers, horror movie fans, comic book fans, like around them. Like I always tell artists that your fans are always going to be a reflection of you. So I kind of always and a good portion of my fan base are those, but I've been very surprised. Men in their 50s seem to really gravitate to it. Interesting. It's the guys that said, "Hey, I don't listen to hip hop, but I like what you do," and keep doing it. And then they'll like, "Hey, I don't usually wear those type of shirts, but here's $20. I'll put it in my tip jar." And like keep doing what you do. Like I get a lot of that. And I think a lot of that is they kind of grew up in an era where like music was like a lot of lyricism, a lot of connecting music. And, a lot of them, they don't really like what hip hop is now, just with kind of or they just don't connect to it much. So, but they, they kind of come from the Run DMC and, era. So at least that's what they tell me. So,
Yeah.
but I think I do kind of have like that rock edge to it. So people who like rock music kind of like the energy.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and I've had country people, oddly. I actually, so yeah, a couple cowboys, they'll tell me the same thing. I don't listen to hip hop, but I like what you do.
Mm.
And more hip hop heads, because they started to kind of, I think a lot of like the lyricism that I'm starting to implement a lot more now, they kind of appreciate that. So, yeah, definitely, there's definitely diverse.
You said you're starting to implement more lyricism.
Yeah, well, I've always,
Going.
I've always been I've always been lyrical. I think as the years gone by, I've just gotten better. I like wordplay, bar structure, things like that. So, I think people have been taking more notice of it.
Yeah.
So, I think as I've grown, I've been just been experimenting more, spending more with different like flows and delivery styles and stuff like that. Cause like the lyricism part, I always had like a standard way of doing it. And I think people seem to really like get, like it or like the way I said a certain word and all that kind of stuff. So I think definitely like traditional hip hop fans who like syllables, rhyming, punchlines and metaphors or whatever, like start to like gravitate to that. So just a little observation I've noticed,
Yeah.
As of lately.
That's the art part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. And it's exciting to hear artists talk about how they're experimenting and with the craft and with flows and cadences and delivery and all of that. And they're getting more into the art of it.
Yeah.
Rhyming. Yeah. Definitely. You talked about Tech Nine, mentioned a couple of the artists there. Has he been influential in any way?
Yes.
What you do? Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've had a few people said a couple of my songs kind of sounded in that same kind of style, which threw me off the first time I heard it, just because like I don't rap as fast as he does, but I think it's maybe just kind of like the vibe in certain areas. Like I definitely don't feel like I sound like him. I think people kind of get that similar like vibe, like delivery wise. So, but no, he's definitely been an influence. He's probably, I have to say, he's still like probably one of the best live performers I've seen.
Yes, hands down.
Yeah. He has. I've seen him live several times. I did one show with him when he came to Canes. This was 2013, so I got to meet him for about a few minutes, and he's definitely like the really genuine guy that he has a reputation of being. But yeah, no, definitely. I mean, not just the art side, but the business side. Just kind of how Strange Music is kind of built. So I study the business side a lot too, and so yeah, definitely been influential.
Speaking about the business side, is it Psychopathic Records?
Yeah. I think that'd be
out of Detroit.
Yeah.
Any time there's an exclusive or some media outlet does some type of profile on their business, I'm always interested in how they built that, man, and that rabid fan base, and just I don't think there's ever been anything like it. Like what they've built, and I've spent hours just thinking on it. Can that be replicated, or is that just a moment in time? And hadn't happened before and won't happen again. So you think it's just that 1 and 200 year thing that happens?
That's a good question. Cause because I played Juggalo shows. They're definitely some of the most supportive fans. Like they'll spend their last dollar on a CD or a shirt if they like your music. Like they're very family oriented. It's
Mhm.
one of their chants is family. So um only other one I could really compare. There's a label, if you ever heard of LSP. They're really becoming. Actually, I think they've
Yes.
already become the next Psychopathic Records, and I've been.
Mm.
They're growing a lot now, and they've been around for a while. I've been doing shows with that label. They've been coming to Tulsa quite often. They've got a good following, and they
Mm.
but I think like and they're more deeper in the kind of horrorcore sound as
Mm.
well. But they've got a lot of they have that, but they have like a lot of good lyricism and I've yet to hear a bad artist on that label, and I've yet to meet someone on the label that isn't like the nicest guy you've ever met. Like everyone there is very genuine. They hang out with the fans. They don't hang out in the green room or the hotel. They're very much on that building relationships and they've got an amazing merch game. So
Mm. Right.
so
LSP.
yeah, stands for Lyrical Snuff Productions. They're right out of Denver, Colorado, but they have done shows with ICP. I know they did a show with Shaggy just recently, and then I actually heard through a grapevine that Shaggy said that LSP was like carrying the torch for what ICP started. Like they feel like they're the next runner up. And so but I think as far as like a fan base like Juggalos, it is kind of like once in a blue moon, like once in a century.
Yeah.
Cause just
Yeah.
it's you know what I mean? So yeah, I always thought about that.
Is
And
is it true that I heard this years ago that they're actually like a Christian label?
oh yeah.
Really? And then
It's
but it's kind of
it's hard for people to kind of dissect that because you look at guys who wear clown makeup and they got songs about killing. So you're like, how is that?
yeah,
So
yeah.
um from what I won't say entirely quote me on this, but because I'm not one of the biggest ICP fans in the world. Like I listen to him from time to time, but like I know I have friends who are like they like know everything. Like they're way deeper fans than I am. So I listened to them pretty heavy in high school. So I'm kind of thinking back on that. But I believe most of their songs were literally about like the ones about killing and stuff like that.
Mm.
From what I understand, I think a lot of this, like they're not telling you this is something they're doing or that you should do. I think it has more to do with like their target was like something like I guess like corrupt cops or racists and pedophile, rapists, like evil people. So they're more like they feel like it's not like we're going around killing random people. We're talking about immoral, people that we believe and our spirituality is wrong and don't deserve to live and stuff like that. So from what I understand, that's kind of what their message was. And but yeah, from what I've heard, yeah, they are actually like Christians. So
Okay,
it's just
that's
kind of hard to buy into that from like
yeah,
visionary.
yeah.
But they're also like they're just highly like sarcastic, humorous people.
Okay.
I can't remember. I think some TV host got mad because Violent J told a kid to go home and smoke crack.
Mm.
And he was just like, I was just kidding. Like he's gonna go home and smoke crack. And he was like, but you're a role model to these kids. And
Yeah.
it's funny. That used to be a thing. That used to be Eminem, ICP. I remember a time where artists were like held to the standard. Like, well, you're an influence to all these kids, so you can't be putting out explicit lyrics and all that stuff. And then now, like, we don't really have that standard.
Yeah.
Like Cardi B puts out WAP, and then nobody, it gets a lot of positive like media.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people don't think
Yeah.
yeah. So I was thinking about that the other day. Is like I think that I remember that's kind of what made Eminem want to rebel more because he's like I didn't come to your house and tell your kid, hey, be my fan. He just happened to, so
Yeah.
I kind of thought about that standard doesn't exist where people think about how how music influences their children. So,
Man, we could talk all day. We'll have to do a part 2
right.
sometime.
Yeah.
Got a couple more questions for you. If you were removed from the scene, what would be missing?
Whew. Well, that's probably a lot. And I'll just be like as because I don't want to like flex or nothing or whatever, but I do know what I bring to the table. So
This is the flex hour. So go right ahead.
right, yeah.
That's why I asked you. Yes, sir.
I will say, well, there's I have certain months out the year I do certain underground hip hop showcases.
Okay.
And I mentioned LSP. I have a pretty good relationship with that label, so I've been bringing a lot of their artists to Tulsa, and they have a very good fan base. So I do shows that are just strictly local, and I do shows where I'll have like, a known touring act on the bill, and that sells more tickets, brings more people out, which is a good look for the locals because they get to play for a bigger crowd than they normally would. And and then if I do tickets, normally like I pay the artists a percentage of their sales. I have a great relationship with some bars, venues, and stuff like that. And I think definitely my girl's been helping me out a lot too. So I definitely feel that I just think that the shows that we do is very professional, very structured.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and this is not to say there aren't other people, but I don't think anyone does it quite like me. So I'll say that much. So if I'm removed from the scene, there's
and we agree.
Yeah.
You do your thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then open mic has become a great thing. It's actually been, I've been to a lot of open mics, and I've been impressed with how busy the nights will get. We'll have like 15 people sign up, and it's there for everybody, any genre. So I've discovered new artists from the open mic, and then I'll end up putting them on my actual shows. I brought in artists on tour for the first time from here. So yeah, I think, and not only that, I'm pretty well known for coming and supporting other people when I don't have a show. Sometimes that's how I spend my weekend. So
and that
yeah,
matters.
so
That matters.
all of that would be gone if I were removed from the scene.
Wow.
So
yeah. All right. And in about 3 minutes.
Okay.
Cool. Enough. How did you get that name?
Okay, so I started it in October 2008, and I didn't want a typical rapper name. So I thought, well, what if I picked a name that sounded like some hardcore punk band? And for just at some point, I just came up with it. I was like, yeah, I think I'll go with that. Now, the only reason I wish I didn't pick that name is because of Google search. Because I get buried underneath Breaking Benjamin, Michael Jackson, Papa Roach. But over the years, I've noticed that I come up in the Google search a little bit higher. So, but yeah, that's the only reason. So, I had any reason why I didn't want to pick that name, that would be it. But overall, I think it fits what I do. Yeah. I think it kind of fits my style really good. So people, tend to like the name. So it definitely people take notice. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I just kind of wanted to stand out and I just came up with something a little out of the ordinary. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Local heat.